Hello.
Hi, Scott.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
And what's your name?
My name is Nathalie.
And where do we find ourselves, Nathalie?
We're in the village of Terza, which is my home on the island of Crete.
And how long have you been living here?
I've been here since the early 90s.
Amazing. So what is your practice?
I practice Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga.
Right, and how long have you been practicing Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga for?
I started in 1986.
And what compelled you to start practicing yoga in 1986?
It was actually by chance, and I would say like good fortune. I was traveling in India, and by chance I met Danny Paradise, who invited me to his yoga class that he was teaching together with Cliff Barber in Goa.
And what did that class do for you?
It basically opened my eyes and opened my mind.
What does that mean?
Well, just more thinking about, who we really are, what we're really doing, what life is all about.
And were you doing that anyway?
No, I was very young. I was just into partying and having fun, not really,
So you went to India to party and have fun?
No, I went to India because my boyfriend was going to India. And then we split up.
While you were there?
Yeah, just right at the beginning, which was good because this is what, got me into this yoga trip.
So you were like partying, having fun, and then you happened upon a yoga class.
Exactly.
And that was life-changing.
Exactly.
Is that how it works?
Exactly. Well, that's how it worked for me.
What was the thing then that you felt at the end?
What do you mean at the end?
At the end of that class that made
The
you...
first class.
Yeah.
I just felt like, I don't know how to say this in English, like, like a lot of energy coming from within somehow, and a peaceful mind, but a lot of energy, like, right there.
Yeah. How... So it was with Danny Paradise and Cliff Barber?
Yes.
And did they stay influential in your life?
Yeah, still until today.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So once you did that class, what happened after that?
I moved in the next day.
To
Cliff's house.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I slept on his balcony basically for 3 months in a row.
And then just studied with him every day?
Every day, yes.
That's a major shift. Well, I suppose you're in India anyway, right?
Yeah, we were in India, so I mean, the environment kind of leads you to these kind of situations, basically, yeah.
And so what did you do with those 3 months? Did you carry on partying, or did you say, I'm not doing it?
Yeah, we were definitely still partying. I mean, there was full moon and stuff, so there was a lot of partying. But there was like daily practice, 6 days a week. I mean, fortunately, there was like a lot of full moon parties, which are moon days, so there was no practice.
Right, but there's something about this kind of just being in this place, being moved by the practice, and then suddenly going, this is it. What did you do after India? How did it continue?
Well, after that, I continued traveling basically, but I would return every time when Cliff was in India. I would go back to India, so I did that for a couple of years, and then he moved to Crete eventually.
Right.
So then I started coming here instead of going to India.
Is that ended up why you moved here?
This is definitely why I moved here.
So there's something really rich about Cliff then?
Yeah, he's the most important person in my life.
Wow. Can you expand more about that?
He's the one who made me understand the way I understand life and the meaning of life and what we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to be living our life. Although it's not, we're not doing it every day, we're trying.
And so he was your teacher?
Yes.
Since 1986?
Exactly.
And when did he die? In
2020.
2020. So for 34 years you had the same teacher. There's something really amazing about that. Like, how does when you have a teacher like that who's been like that for so long, where does he sit inside of you?
He's all over me. He's like in my mind, in my heart, in my dreams.
Right.
in my movement.
When you say in your dreams, what does that mean?
It's just because it's like, I close my eyes, I hear him, I see him. So it's like, even when I'm sleeping, he just pops up.
And what is it, do you think, that he taught you?
He taught me that there's no need in worrying about anything. Life takes care of life. We should just do our practice, and everything will be all right.
And
basically, it's very simple, but it does work.
And is that something he taught you right from the beginning that stayed true all the way through?
Yes.
Just that simple teaching?
Yeah.
And did you discover that that worked?
It does work. It does work. I have seen it work. I have seen like moments in life where I had the impression that there's nothing new coming, or I would be in trouble for some reason, and then all of a sudden, as soon as you let go, it just dissolves. Everything is fine.
Well, can you give me an example?
I can give you a few examples. One very specific one was living in Liberia at some point with the family, and having no income and no money left, being with $200 in our pocket, 3 people, and like the family being very, very stressed about it, trying to find a solution. And as soon as we started trying to find a solution outside of what we were doing, the solution just came by itself. All of a sudden I had a job, Andreas had a job, and everything was fine. It was just like, we just had to wait one more day.
And so you just trusted?
Yeah, it's just about trusting, providence. It's life.
What's the most meaningful moment you spent with Cliff?
Well, the most meaningful moment, I think, was probably, at the end, when he was like, not very well anymore. He was like, sick. He made me understand in that time that he's just a normal person like everybody else who's dying, like everybody else. He never pretended to be anything else than a normal person. He never called himself a teacher or a guru or something. And to seeing this, like, the body not going anymore, the body like dying, basically, the body dying, it really shows you that the spark is still there, even if the person is still, the body's useless, but he is still, like, his soul is still shining, was still shining through. And I think this is something that, like, we're doing our yoga practice thinking a lot about the physical part of the practice. And then, but at some point we get really old, and then at some point the body is not going to work anymore. So this is one of the things that really became clear at the end with Cliff. And it's very, I don't know how to explain it. This is very hard. I don't know how to say it. It's like, even now that he's not around anymore, he's still there. I don't know how to explain it. Not just as my teacher, but he's like around everywhere. Like, if it wasn't for him, I would not be here. I would not have the life I have. I would not be as easygoing as
I think these things around teachers are really important, right? And it's showing something really special that you had with him. How's the physical practice of yoga been for you over the years? What have you learned about yourself through that?
Well, for many, many years I was very much into learning all the poses and going from first series, second series, advanced, all that. Unfortunately, I had a problem with my hip. Like, it started a couple of years ago. It was better a couple of years, then it became worse, and then last year, in the end, after being in pain for too long, I decided to have a hip replacement. And it took me back. Like, now I feel like I'm doing first series, a little bit of second series. I'm very much limited in my movement, but I can still do my practice. I can adapt my practice, which is very nice. Ashtanga yoga is really for everyone. You can change all the poses around and, you know, make them comfortable and make them steady for any kind of body. So I'm working on that, trying to find a way to make my practice work for me. But it also taught me that, I mean, I don't have to do asana practice every day. I can just concentrate on pranayama, do my kriyas today, and not do the practice, the asana practice. Although I miss it sometimes, yeah.
Well, do you miss it the way that it was?
I miss it the way it was, yes, exactly, because, I mean, it's different if you don't know how to do something and you're learning it slowly, and then, or you know how to do it, but you just can't do it anymore because your leg is not, you know, moving the way you want it or the way it used to.
Yeah. But do you find that the having the practice has helped you to be able to meet this new part?
Definitely does help me to do that, and also, but not only the asana practice, but just in general the yoga practice has helped me to just accept what's happening to me.
So it's the acceptance of your body changing through the...
Because no matter what, at some point, it's going to stop working.
Yeah.
So,
is there anything you'd want to share about the movement and your hip replacement, the change of that with people, about, you know, what you could offer in relationship to what you're going through?
well, the difficulty for me was that there was a very limited information about people doing a yoga practice and moving in the way that we move when we do our yoga practice. We're not just walking up and down the stairs, you know, or sitting at a desk all day. So yeah, there is quite some limitations, and but it does help you think a little bit more about how you move. While if you're just like, when I started my yoga practice, I was like in my early 20s, very young, very flexible. Everything was coming like almost automatically. So now the problem with my hip helps me just think a little bit more about how I move, how I go into the poses, how I can make it more comfortable, and what would be the correct way just to do a pose and not just do it because it's easy. Yeah.
So it's like the hip replacement's been a teacher as well.
Yeah, definitely a teacher, a big teacher. But I think life as itself is a big teacher. You know, all the ups and downs we have.
This is just another one.
It's just another one, yeah. And it's nice. It's like a roller coaster. You know, if a roller coaster goes like this, it's no fun. You have to go up and down, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's the most important thing you've learned about yourself over the years?
About myself? Oh, I need to be much more patient. Yeah, this is I need to be much more patient. I think that's probably the main thing. I need to be more patient.
And is your practice helping you to do that?
Definitely, yes. If I see that I'm not, you know, not patient, or if I'm, you know, being nervous about something, or have to do something I don't really like for just saying, like going to the bank and waiting in a line, I'll probably just revert to just like observing my breath, because it just, you know, it calms me down, and just time passes nicer. That's one of the things that Cliff taught me. Just feel the air flowing through your nostrils in and out. It's the only thing you got to do, and everything will be fine.
Okay, thanks, Nathalie. So lastly, I'd like to ask you, what do you think that you've learned over the years of practice that you would like others to know?
I think probably just trust the process, do your practice. This cheesy thing everybody says, do your practice and everything is coming. It's maybe cheesy. I'm not going to call it cheesy because I'm kind of, you know, it's like an important thing somebody said sometime. But yeah, you do your practice, the practice will take care of you. I'm not talking about asana practice, I'm talking about the general yoga practice, especially yamas and the niyamas. Do that first. Then your asana practice, your pranayama. Just surrender to it. Surrender to life. Life will take care of you. No need to worry about anything. Life is beautiful.
Thank you, Natalie, for that.
You're welcome.
Thanks, yeah.